Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are doing a follow-up video from our original video on the Nitehog Viper, and we're going to talk a little bit today more on application as opposed to the tech spec side. And so you'll see here, I've tried the Viper over the past 3 or so months on a bunch of different configurations. This one is my favorite. It seems a little more complicated than it actually is, but what we have is a Aimpoint Comp M5 on a Unity mount, and we're using the HRF skiff, which is this kind of diving board mount, and we've got the Viper tack on the end of that, and we have a Aimpoint magnifier. And so what's really awesome about this setup is the Viper can flip out of your way. You can see there, and you can use this as normal, and you can take your magnifier out, just use as a minimal normal dot, and it works great. It also works great with the out magnifier, and the darker or the lighter it is outside, like using a magnifier works really well in like low light applications, and it works great in either application when it's dark. So one of the things that I think that a lot of people were asking me about is the mount height. So you'll see here, I actually have it on their older flip to side mount, which the new one here is a lot more robust, but it sits a little higher. So like its optical center is a little higher and too high to work in this like Aimpoint Unity mount skiff configuration. So it actually works really well, which is one of my other favorites for setting it up with the EOTech EXPS. So there we go. On a riser, I have it on a riser here. I guess it'd be around this way. Have it on a riser here, and when you mount it with the new flip to side mount with the EOTech, this is actually, because the EXPS sits a little higher because of its own QD mount, and this sits a little higher. It's a pretty good line of sight. This one is kind of a spring-loaded flip to side like that. It's a little easier when you have the unit mounted. But that's kind of the difference between those two setups. I know I've talked a lot about the mounts, the collar mounts that go on the Nitehog, and it interfaces with those really well on scopes. I really like those, and for the most part, I think the clip-on is really fun on subguns, and it's really good on rifles with more magnification. From an application perspective, I think it works really great across those like kind of 3 different areas. However, once you get up in higher magnification, kind of anything past like 6, like 6x, it gets a little more grainy and a little hard to distinguish. The darker it is, the cleaner image you have. You can go higher than the 6x, but I think that's kind of where my level of comfortability starts to change. It's really good with the 3x magnification. A lot of people were asking questions about how it worked with an Aimpoint, the Comp M5 or a T2. And I mean, you do get kind of a narrowed down eye box just because the dot tube, you're limited by the dot tube, but it really is not a huge deal to me. I haven't found it to be, anything that hinders me from using it. Obviously, when you pair it with EOTech, you get the kind of positive from this big EOTech window on the XPS, and the high-res screen on the Viper Gen 2, on here paired with that is a really good, it works exceptionally well, really good application. And then I think for the most part you can't lose with either setup. There are different things that pros and cons to both setups, but this one is my favorite so far, and I've ran it a little bit shooting in low light scenarios, and I've ran it during the day for the most part, as long as you're not pointing dead straight at the sun. The thermal works really well in the day too, and it works better, like I said, the higher light that you have, the more magnification is required for it to be used efficiently. And then, the lower light scenarios, like we're getting into right now, allow you to use less magnification. So for the most part, I've had a really good use of the Nitehog Viper Gen 2. A lot of good changes that we talked about in the last video from, the previous gen. One of the largest ones being its ability to record video. So that's been a lot of fun, been recording video with it, and, capturing all my great shots and not great shots. But one of the things we talked about before was the buttons on the top, and this lever for turning it on, all being a little more tactile, a little more, these are different on the top, so you can kind of know where you're at when you can't see them. So that part's great. And I do really like the new mount, best. I like it better when I compare it, but the height of the old mount, being able to, interface on this, skiff is really the reason why I have it set up like this. And it's probably where I'll utilize it the most, outside of putting it on one of those collar mounts and mounting it on an LPVO. So if you guys have any other questions about this, let me know. I've had a lot of fun using it, and I have been able to kind of more thoroughly try it out and make sure that it's something that I would recommend, and it certainly is. It's certainly held up to, its name. One of the things I was worried about was battery life. I feel like a lot of thermals eat batteries. It lives up to the 6-hour battery life, even when I've, thrown in an 18650 that wasn't fully charged. It did really well, so it didn't have any issues with having like a not fully charged battery thrown into it. And I haven't had it really die on me yet. I charged it kind of after a 6-hour time frame, and I didn't go beyond that, but that's a good note as well. I think that's pretty good. I took some video of me running it with both on a PCC and on this rifle, and I think you guys will really like it. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, and if there's anything I didn't cover that you'd like me to cover in another video. Thanks, guys.